Internet. What is really, really, really good? You know it is. And if you don't, let me tell you who it is that I is and what it is we about to do. So, who am I? Okay. Wait. Oh, I'm the one and the only, the triple the G.O.D. And this is another episode of Triple the Guy Speaks Song. And RWBY Volume 4, Episode 4. See, I knew it. See, I knew all of that. I was fooling y'all. Those was jokes. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But yo, RWBY Volume 4, Episode 4, man, ready for another reviewing. Yo, this episode was off the fucking chain. This episode had everything I wanted. Things I didn't know were coming. And a little savagery to go through all of that. And we are going to quickly wade our way through all of this right now. Because let's go back to the beginning of the episode. We have been, the past 4 episodes, have been given a look at this little niglet farmer who farmed niglets named Oscar. He is a niglet who farms other niglets. I don't know why that's a job in RWBY, farming niglets, but that's what he does. I have never paid this kid any attention. I just thought the kid was just there just for, like, we just need to fill time, but given a show like RWBY, they wouldn't give a character time in the show if the character didn't mean anything, but I'm glad we finally got paid. We got some payoff for Oscar, the niglet, who is the niglet farmer, because he looks into a mirror and talks to it, and guess whose voice comes back at him? Oh, it's Professor Ozpin's. So, Oscar, the niglet who farms niglets, Professor Ozpin. Reincarnation of Ozpin. We could go on and on about what this actually has to do with anything. Where the hell is Glenda? But we'll get to that at some point when the show decides that we should see Glenda. But again, I want to know what's up with Oscar the niglet who farms niglets. What the hell is going on? Because see, before now, paid Oscar the niglet farmer who farms niglets no attention. Because remember, Oscar is a niglet who is a niglet farmer who farms niglets. Remember that. That is important. It will be on the test. I don't get this, but I am interested enough in whatever it is to want to know what is the deal. What is the deal? I am never going to do that again, I swear. I thought it was funny. Seinfeld was an amazing show. It had a flat ending, moving on. So, Oscar the niglet, who is a niglet farmer who farms niglets, has something to do with a possible reincarnation of Ozpin. That is where we're going to leave that subject until the show is ready to pick it up again. Let's speed over to the Xiaolong household, where Yang is still in her funk or whatever, still having PTS dreams in the middle of the sequel to the sequel to the sequel of the Lawnmower Man, because that's PTSD is the Lawnmower Man, I guess. I don't know. And if you ain't watched the Lawnmower Man, I don't know if you should watch it, but definitely don't play that Super Nintendo game, because that game was ass. Anywho, here is what I appreciate about everything that was Yang focused about this episode. First of all, it was great to see Professor Port and Professor Oblak, because it's been a while since we seen them, and they just in the joking. They just in the kitchen talking shit about Crow cross-dressing because he didn't know what to wear to school. I thought that was pretty funny, because we all know Uncle Crow's the god, and this will be the last we hear about Uncle Crow as the god this episode, because it's not like he's going to show up near the end of the episode and do something really cool, because trust me, that doesn't happen. Not at all. Not at all. The thing that I have to say overall, because I don't think I want to like dive back into this part of the episode later, because I want to get to the cool shit, is I appreciate everything that was this Yang portion of the episode, because excusing Yang is waifu, is that I really appreciate the psychological undertones and a little bit of overtones about what Yang is going through. Because Yang needed a moment like that. Because when I talked about this a couple of episodes ago, when is Yang going to put on the arm and how the show is going to handle that type of psychological change, I didn't expect it all to come full circle like this. Because, again, I appreciated that Professor Port and Professor Oobleck were there to teach a lesson to a student who needed that lesson to understand that, yo, the lesson that we all learn, it ain't what you do when shit happens, it's how you deal with the shit that happens to you. And at this point, Yang has gone through the emotional ring and lose your arm, everybody you love, you're scattered all over the damn place, and you are in a very deep and dark and depressed hole. We get that. I will say that just off the cuff, that line about you must have lost some brain cells when you lost that arm that Tang Yang said, that was hella savage. I paused the video and screamed, savage! Because it was savage. That's some Live from New Ferguson shit from your ass. Live from New Ferguson 2, Trump World coming soon to iTunes and Spotify, all that shit. Yeah, I got that Live from New Ferguson 2 album popping off. Anywho, the point was ultimately at the end of the episode, Yang put her that on. But it was why she did. Is not what's at question, but more of understanding who Yang is. Because before she put on the arm, Tae Yang was talking to Oobleck and Port, like, you gonna go after RWBY? And he's like, nah, I can't. My daughter lost her arm. She needs me to get her back on the guiding path. She heard that and she understood what she had to do. Because again, like I said earlier, it ain't what happens when shit happens to you. It's how you deal with how shit happens to you. And at this point, Yang had to decide that, look, that I can sit in this deep, dark, and depressed hole all I want. But the people I care about need me. And a step towards that is putting on his arm and putting myself in a position to get back out there and fight. Even with the psychological undertones and overtones that I am trying to write into this, I wonder, how the show will deal with the man versus the machine and how much machine we are when we add mechanical parts to our stuff. Because there are plenty of shows that really deal with how when we add something foreign to ourselves that isn't human, but it's built by humans and it's mechanical. I do wonder if the show is really going to delve into that type of psychological territory. I don't think that RWBY is the show where you explore that. I don't think that any character in the show could pull that off, get the viewer to believe in it, and get them to invest in it, even though it would be cool for me to see, because I'm down with that type of shit in my shows. But I just don't think RWBY is the time or place for something like that. That's all I'm saying when it comes to that. But I do have to say that I was expecting a little bit more from the whole Yang puts the arm on thing. I was expecting a whole lot more from Bionic Arm, X Factor, Bionic Arm, Delay Hyper Combo. I was expecting more from that. And it wasn't that I was expecting more from it like that, but I thought that it was something that the show would gradually get to because of Yang dealing with a PTSD and Yang trying to get over what the fuck happened to her. And I thought the show was going to really delve more into that. But this is an action show that is heavily anime. We talked about that too, by the way. So Given Yang's character and who Yang Xiaolong is, you can take about 3 episodes focused on her of sitting in the dark hole and being like, fuck it. I need to hurry up and get my shit together because my sister needs me. My other half of my bumblebee needs me. I just made a shipping joke. I shouldn't do that. But I did. But the point is, Yang know the streets need her back on the block. She got to put that work in. Know what I mean, son? I shouldn't do that either, but I'm going to keep doing this because I think this shit is funny. But the point I'm trying to make is that that's probably the way you handle that. Is that you give Yang a couple episodes to stew in it. She understands that she holding shit back by sitting up here, and I don't want to say being selfish, but being a little bit into herself so much that she doesn't want to get up and fix her own issues. So, I'm glad that the show has gotten past that point. And now we finna see Yang work with this new bionic arm, which I hope has a grappling hook in it, because if it does, we can get Bionic Commando with Yang in it, because that would be cool. I should just play Bionic Commando because it's been a while since I played it. And we actually talking about the NES Bionic Commando, or the first Game Boy one, because that one was really cool. The one on the the next generation version, that was alright. Might want to play that. Bionic Commando Rearm, the first Bionic Commando Rearm, that game is fucking godlike. The second, alright. The Game Boy Color one was cool. You should play Rockin' Cat, because that game is technically Bionic Commando mixed with a whole bunch of other shit. Why are we talking about Bionic Commando right now? Anywho, let's just get to the point of this whole episode. Can we just get to the... At some point in this episode, what is Ruby, John, Nora, and Ren calling themselves? I forget. I can't keep up with that. But they walking through a forest and they like... Ruby's looking at this map. I can't pronounce where the fuck this place is. Ren's like, blah, blah. And you're just like, okay. It's good we ain't seen no Grim in a while. Like, we must be really lucky. Let's scroll up this mountain and look who it is. Everybody's fucking Uncle Crow. Because Uncle Crow is the god. Uncle Crow is the god. You can't tell me different because Crow is a monster. Been a while since I said that. But Crow that dude. Crow been that dude since before Crow was that dude. That's how long he been the dude. You know what I mean? Nami? Look. It was good to see Crow. But that wasn't the point, though. Wasn't the point at all. We got our first real look at Raven. And if you don't know who Raven is Yang's mom. We could get into the particulars of that, but Raven made her impression felt when Yang was getting her ass beat and came in and she handled Neo like it was quick work. You know what I mean? That was some epic shit, man, back in season 2, man. That was hot. The thing is that when Crow and Raven were in the same place, you could really feel the tension in the scene, because not only is that good writing, not only is it good acting, it is a combination from both column A and column B. Because you can have one and not have the other, and you can tell when one is there and one isn't. This had everything. You could tell in the way that the way it was animated, the way they were addressing each other, was that it's a lot of deep-seated shit there. It's a lot of backstory. I would love to hear an episode of World of Remnant. I'm like, I left whatever that scene was with more questions to questions I didn't know I had. Not really getting that many answers, because the only thing we really learned is that Crow is on one side of this, Raven is on the other. But in a world that has been destroyed in a way that, well, I don't want to say world, that what we knew as Beacon has been shattered. The world is in some weird turmoil, and the bad guys are trying to take it over because of the turmoil. Da 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 da. We know, quote unquote, like what's good with Crow. You know what I'm saying? We understand what's going on with Crow. He been sitting up here this whole time watching out for Ruby, and we didn't even know. That's how godlike Crow is. You have Raven, who is this mysterious entity, and my mother-in-law, another conversation. And you really wonder like what's up with her, because again, our only pre-interaction with her was when she made quick work of Neo. Now is that I have questions about her that I don't think the show is going to get into anytime soon. You probably gonna have to wait another 1 or 2 volumes to really find out what the hell going on with Raven. And I think that's what's best for the story right at this moment. I don't think you could take a character like Raven and like thrust her into the spotlight like that immediately. She just needs to make little bitty appearances here and there, couple of seconds, hi, I'm here type shit. You know what I'm saying? Establish the character without devoting too much time to the character, because she's a character for real that, because of her mysterious nature and wanting to understand and learn more about the character, is that you can stick her in scenes where she do a whole bunch, but it don't take a whole lot of time, and you learn everything you need to know. The same thing that they did with Crow, but Crow had a lot of character building when he had his interactions with Winter, and his interactions mainly with Ruby and Yang. He had those interactions where where he became everybody's favorite Uncle Crow. And I really do think that we could at some point down the line, maybe not now, we could get some everybody's auntie that's so Raven scenes like that. I don't think that Raven is the type of character where she could have those same scenes with Crow and make that work, but there's a way that you can build the mystique around a character like Raven and not lose the mystery of what the character is and represents. You have to wonder, because of what's going on with Yang, you do have to wonder if Raven is going to make herself known at some point to her before she gets back out there. It's a thing that makes sense. You can see somebody like Raven send somebody after Yang to try to test her, because to me, Raven seemed like that type of character to do that type of ill shit to her daughter, because she come off like that kind of character. So, Uncle Crow, Auntie That's So Raven, that scene was hot. It was hot, and I'm glad that this show has grown to where we don't need Team RWBY to be in every damn scene. The show didn't really need that after Volume 1, but because the show is trying to become broad, and the show is trying to build the dynamics of a bigger world, is that we get scenes like this. If that is good, like I said earlier, it was good to see Professor Port and Professor Oobleck, that the show hasn't forgotten about the characters that we know and care about, but are able to introduce new characters that we want to care about. And everybody's Uncle Crow. Because he is everybody's Uncle Crow. But yo, that is an episode. Yo, man. Whoo-wee. Man, your boy's been in the lab busy, man. I've been putting his work in major. You know what I'm saying? Been putting his work in major, and it's been affecting how I do my other work, but shit gotta get done. But I'm glad I was able to get this out. Let me see. Before I get out of here, anything that the internet needs to know that they actually might care about. Latest installment of The Cool is up on the blog. It came out yesterday, I think. It came out yesterday. It came out yesterday afternoon. But I might actually get this week's installment of Cool actually out on time. And then we got a new episode of X-Aid. I got something special dropping, I want to say Thursday night. Got something special dropping Thursday night. Got X-Aid, of course. Got a new episode of RWBY. And once I get some things together, we might actually be able to go back to do some actual work for a fucking change, because that will make me happy. How about that? So, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'd like to take the time to thank Professor Rospin's voice, Nathan Spencer, everybody's favorite Uncle Crow, and Auntie That's a Raven. Also featuring my future wife, Jane Jallo. Yes, I did say that. The internet holds that motherfucking hell. Something about bumblebees and something about baked Alaska. I should just stop searching for shit on Google. How about that? I'm out of here. I'm the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And this has been another episode of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that, I will holler at you guys next time, man. Peace out.